From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Wednesday's edition of For the People. It's July the 12th. It's 2017, and let's get the show started. Heads are going to roll after Trump Jr. Leaks Corey Lewandowski says. That's basically what happens here. Corey Lewandowski talking about the leaks that's got Trump Jr. right now in the firing range of the liberal media. However, there's a very interesting article in today's Washington Post about disinformation, and I have said all along that I felt like this was going to backfire on the Dems, and in fact, it looks like that to be the case. You got to check this out in the Post. But Democrats have willfully and repeatedly peddled discredited information, disputed information to tarnish President Donald Trump and his administration, begging the question of who's actually colluding with Russia. And this is the Washington Times, folks, reporting this. The Washington Times, which is great. It's not the Post, it's the Times, okay? Because I don't think the Post would ever report like this, the honest information, because, of course, the Post has it in it. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. It says, what started as opposition research, most common during election campaigns, has become a Bible of Democrats in their attempt to smear long Trump elections. Most uncommon, the Times reported, especially given that the author himself, former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele, has distanced himself from it. So if anyone colluded with the Russians, it was the Democrats. A former Trump campaign advisor was telling the Times, after all, they routinely shopped around false claims from the debunked Steele dozer, which listed sources including senior Kremlin officials. Steele, who in April court filing in London said that the information he collected was unverifiable and should never be made public, used Kremlin-linked sources for his dozer on Trump, common fodder for Democrats to sling at the administration even now, the Times reported. So in other words, Democrats continue to peddle disinformation sourced from the same country that they continue to try to link Trump and his former campaign to a near daily basis. And if anyone should be investigated in Washington, it ought to be Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, Mark Warner, and their staffers. This is according to one Trump campaign advisor. By the way, if you watched Sean Hannity last night, Don Jr. was on, did a superb job. We're going to run some Q&A on that in a little bit. We have some audio there. Did a superb job. Awesome job. But because of the leaks, these emails that were leaked out, and it was a good thing that Trump Jr. came out because it was going to be released because somebody, probably a holdover, I'm certain of that from the Obama administration, somebody's leaking this information out. But it says heads are going to roll. And that's the headline right here. Corey Lewandowski says that President Trump's he's the former campaign manager, remember? Now, he's predicted that these leakers driving the coverage of Don Trump Jr. and his meeting last year with Russia lawyer will be fired, whoever this is, as the White House is scrambling to find the source at this moment. I mean, they're shaking down the White House, baby. They're shaking it down as we're no stone unturned. They're going to find this person or persons they're going to find him. But numerous accounts in the wake of Trump Jr.'s revelations have described the White House as pretty much raked by internal drama and suspicion. It seems references to such stories. The president tweeted this morning, remember when you hear the words, sources say from the fake media, oftentimes those sources are made up and do not exist. But there is little question that the president's inner circle would like to get to the bottom of the leaks. And I would have to agree. See, this is the whole thing, folks. The whole thing that the Dems have been using. It's been their fodder. And the Dems right now are just hoping and praying that there is something, even treason. Chuck Schumer is calling what Trump Jr. did was treasonous. I mean, who says this? Treasonous? That he sold out his country? He gave information that was of top security. He was selling missiles. Sold him a nuke. What did Trump Jr. do that was treasonous? I just don't get it. Treasonous? These are the exact words. You'll hear. Yeah, some of the audio is it's awful. But that's what's circulating, and this is what the left again is still trying to hang on to. To let this narrative play out. But it's backfiring already. People are starting to realize there's nothing here. There's nothing there at all. There's no collusion. You didn't get to see the interview. Some of you probably didn't, but we'll go ahead and we'll run some of that audio here with Donald Trump Jr. Who is Rob Goldstone? Everybody's heard of it, so what say Don Jr.?
Rob Goldstone is a talent manager for Amin Argalov, who's a Azerbaijani Russian singer, performed at Miss Universe and later performed at the WGC Championship golf course tournament that we held at Doral.
Okay. Well, that's very good. All right. So we're just going to go down the list here. So the email comes in, and when you got this email, this supposed information, what were you thinking about this?
Honestly, my takeaway when all of this was going on is that someone has information on our opponent. Things are going a million miles an hour. You know what it's like to be on a campaign. We just won Indiana, but we're talking about a contested convention. Things are going a million miles an hour again. And, hey, wait a minute. I've heard about all these things, but maybe this is something. I should hear them out.
Now, keep in mind, folks, this is 12, 13 months before anybody was ever talking about Russia. There was no mention of Russia whatsoever. Now, who did know about it? About possible collusion, about possible meddling in the elections? Obama knew. Obama knew. And some high-ranking Democrats knew. But they didn't do anything with the information. So, what do you think that means? All right, so Don Jr., when you saw the emails that they said Russia is supporting your father and all of that stuff, did alarm bells go off? I mean, what was going on with it?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think this was, again, just basic information that was going to be possibly there. I didn't know these guys well enough to understand that if this talent manager from Miss Universe, had this kind of thing. So I wanted to hear him out and play it out and see what happens. But, people are trying to reach out to you all the time with this.
And he's brand new to this. He's not been in office. He's not running politics. He works for a real estate company. That's what he's done. So he wanted to hear what they had to say. And, of course, this is a nothing burger, obviously. But the interview was great. We chopped it up a little bit. Got the questions at hand here, so you can just kind of hear some of the gist here. But what I would recommend, seriously, very good listening and viewing, is to watch the entire interview. And you can find that on Fox News channel, their website, foxnews.com, and just Sean Hannity interview with Trump Jr. It's all over the place, probably on YouTube. But listen to it, look at it, and, I mean, it's just the witch hunt. It's exactly what it is, and it's because of these darn leaks that continue to come out. And it's just, again, to keep the narrative negative. Let me say that again. The reason the Dems are doing this is to keep the narrative negative, to keep people hating Trump, disliking Trump. What was the timeline on this? Good question.
This is Russia fever. This is pre-Russia mania. You know, this was 13 months ago, before I think the rest of the world was talking about that, trying to build up this narrative about Russia. So I don't even think my sirens, went up, or the antennas went up at this time because of it, because it wasn't the issue that it's been made out to be over the last, 9 months, 10 months, since it really became a thing. So I think there is an element of context to that. At the time, it wasn't this big news story.
So what did they say these meetings were about before?
As I recall, it was all basically this email coordination. Let's try to set up a meeting and see what happens, and that it was going to be interesting information. And, in the end, it wasn't about that at all.
All right. So after the meeting, you went through with it. You sat down with these folks. What did you make out of the whole thing?
The pretext of the meeting was, hey, we have information. And there was, some small size. I don't even remember what it was. It just was sort of nonsensical, inane and garbled, and then quickly went on to, a story about Russian adoption and how we could possibly help. And really, that's where we shut it down, which is, wait a second, what does this have to do with talking about?
What?
I'd never even heard of it before, that day. I think it became pretty apparent to, Jared and Paul, who I think Jared left after a few minutes. We were all there. I was basically sitting there listening as a courtesy to my acquaintance who had set up the meeting. And in his own words, you can hear what he said, and you played it earlier, about it. I mean, he apologized to me walking out of the meeting, basically for wasting my time.
All right, so in a tweet issued about 6:30 this morning, Trump called his son innocent and praised his last night interview on Fox News Channel with Hannity, in which he defended himself. The president retweeted and repeated his mantra on the Russian controversy, again calling it the greatest witch hunt in political history. He goes on, he says, my son Donald, he did a great job last night. He was open, transparent, and innocent. This is, again, he says, the greatest witch hunt in political history. Sad. And according to emails released by Trump Jr., I would like to just follow up a little bit on this discussion here. He appeared eager to accept information from the Russian government that would have damaged Democrat Clinton. Okay. Now, emails posted on Twitter Tuesday, Trump Jr. showed his conversing with a music publicist who wanted him to meet with a Russian government attorney who supportedly had dirt on Clinton as part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. And the message revealed that Trump Jr. was told that the Russian government had information that could incriminate Clinton and her dealings with Russia. I love it, Trump Jr. said in one response in the email chain, and he released. And then the incident had raised questions of whether members of the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia to hurt Clinton and help Trump. Folks, the only people that hurt Clinton, and this is pre-WikiLeaks, by the way. This is pre all that information that came out. But these emails and the findings showed that they were trying to discredit and cause some massive disruptions with the Sanders campaign because he was gaining ground and popularity and all that stuff. So, again, more of a witch hunt. Don Jr., great job. All this president's trying to do is make America great again. It's all the family is trying to do. I mean, they did not need all of these lies. But you know what? When it's all said and done at the end, it's going to be well worth it. I knew it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be a heck of a road to get to where we need to go. Nothing that happens good comes easy. It takes work, hard work, persistence, perseverance. You're going to go through the fire, you're going to be tried by it. And America's been tried again and again and again. But you give the Democrats enough rope, they're going to hang themselves. Now, thinking about this all the way through with the emails, a lot of people are saying, well, why didn't Trump Jr., why didn't he just release these things? He simply said, in the great scheme of things, he said there was nothing there that he thought that his father needed to know about. He didn't even share it with his dad. Didn't think that it really materialized and all that much and just wrote the thing off. And nobody was talking about Russia at that time, so there was no red flag. He didn't think he was doing anything wrong, wasn't hiding anything because nothing really became of it. But Trump Jr.